everybody, welcome to the first installment of a series that I'm going to be doing on Datolite. And this is particularly Datolite that's found in Michigan's northern Upper Peninsula. So people have been asking me, Jordan, why haven't you done anything on Datolite? Jordan, we want to see some videos on Datolite. Do you have any Datolite? And the answer to that question is absolutely yes. I'm an avid collector of Datolite, and it's been one of those things that's drawn me to collecting in the UP and looking for Datolite. Is just I've absolutely been a fanatic about Datolite, but I haven't really made that widely known until now. I've purchased Datolite, I've found Datolite, I've looked for Datolite, and I can tell you, from experience that Datolite is very rare. It's very hard to find. And even, back in we'll just call it the good old days of collecting, when, these mine piles and stuff that were where people found it, they were relatively not searched through or looked through. It was still hard, even 20 years ago, it was still hard to find. And, fast forward to today, there's so much more exposure, so many more collectors. People are out, looking for Datolite. There's so many more, internet posts and videos about, minerals in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan that it's made it challenging for people that are just starting out, collecting Datolite and looking for it to actually be successful and find it. Especially when there's not really a whole lot of information out there about what it looks like, natively or naturally in the field, and also what to look for, and because there's an awful lot of things that look like Datolite that aren't Datolite. And sometimes you're looking right at a piece of Datolite and you don't see it for what it is. So it's very, very tricky to find it. It's a very, very tricky mineral to identify. And I'm going to do my best to try to kind of at least help some people in their identification and also learning about Datolite as we go. The reasons I put off doing a series on Datolite and just basically doing anything public about Datolite, one of the reasons is that most Datolite collectors are fanatics, and they're very organized, very particular. They're very much into labeling where they found Datolite, and in a lot of ways they're way further ahead, like in their understanding of where they find Datolite and what it looks like, than I am. So I want to say I've been collecting Datolite for more than 10 years. It's probably more than 15 years, and if I say it's been 20 years, then I just start to feel old. And I don't want to feel old. I feel like I just started collecting last week. And that's kind of the way I stay young in this hobby, and try to just keep my enthusiasm up about it, is just not feeling like everything is just old hat, like I've been there and done that. I like to make it feel like it's always brand new, and that's what keeps things fun and exciting. Especially when it comes to Datolite, because it's such an exciting topic. For those of you that collect Datolite and understand what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. When you cut that piece of Datolite open that you found and you just discover the color and the magic inside, there's nothing like it. So, to get started on our very first installment here today, I've got with me, and it's right here in front of me, this is a collection tub that I usually use. Let me get my light different. And usually I use these just to label, where I found this sample of rocks and what it is and everything else. This particular one it's really funny, but I've labeled it September 15, SCP-15. And I think that's really funny because there's quite a bit of datalite in it, and I'm not exactly sure what year, what September 15 it was. However, it must have been in the fall, September 15, when I labeled this jar at any given year. So we're going to take a look at it right now. We're going to have a lot of fun with it because it's loaded with great datalite. So this is the collection of datalite in this little container that I had. It's not all datalite. There's even some greenstone in it, but I'm just going to dump it out here, and we're just going to take a look at what is and what isn't datalite. Get it all in the middle here. These I can probably just discard for now. Like, this is a greenstone piece. This looks more like an agate to me. We'll just get rid of that. So this is a piece that I thought would be a good example of, we'll just call it a look-alike. And what I believe it is it's chert, and it oxidizes on the outside, and so you get this impression that you found a piece of datalite, but in fact it's not. So just thought I'd leave that in there just to kind of show you, at this point in time I picked this up just thinking that it was worth keeping, but you can tell by the texture that it's just not a piece of datalite, and we're going to discard that. So if you're out in the field and you're looking for datalite, this is probably one of the most classic examples of a nodule that you're going to find. And it's identified by what they call this cauliflower look to it. And so you've just got this, it literally looks like a piece of cauliflower. It's just kind of all, there's lines around it, and it's just brecciated a little bit with different parts of the nodule that have oxidated at different rates. And so this is a real classic piece right here. So if you're out in the field and you see that, that's definitely datalite. Let's see if we get through here a little bit. So this is not datalite. This is going to be one of those, people call it patricianite, they call it radioprenite. However, it's just, it comes from the mineral group zeolite, and it's very similar to greenstone in a way, but it's definitely just a type of prehnite. So that's not datalite. This is probably going to be another one. Let's see. Oh, here it is. This is another really classic example of a datalite nodule. And so it's very identifiable by the way that it has these different little lumps kind of all around it. And so if you're out in the field and you notice something like this, you have certainly come across a piece of datalite. Here's another one that's very, very obviously datalite. You've got these kind of circular lines or kind of rounded lines that are going all through it. And so this is going to definitely be a piece of datalite. And a lot of times you'll have clues on the outside of a piece of datalite, like you'll see the porcelainous structure or color kind of revealed from possibly like a chip, but this doesn't have that. This just has, it's completely covered with that oxidated outside rind, if you will. But nonetheless, definitely a piece of datalite. See if I can pull through here a little bit. This one's probably a lot less identifiable. So if you're out in the field collecting, this one, it's attached to a piece of trap rock or basalt, but this one's definitely datalite. And if I get really close, you can see that cauliflower-like structure that's starting to kind of, you can see all those little bumps on it. This is definitely a piece of datalite. And my hopes for this, I'm really hoping for some green or some color on this one. So I was really pleased when I found this one because it's a rare type. And some of you may know exactly where this came from based on the look of it right now, but I am wondering if it didn't come from Central Exploration just because of the color. But here is another example of a piece that you may come across. So this is kind of like a piece of seam datalite, and so it just sort of just it developed in an area of the trap rock that didn't have like a round circular nodule area. It was more like a seam that it developed in. But this one certainly is datolite. As you can kind of see on the end, you have to get really close to it, but you can see these little cauliflower-like lumps on it. And so this one's definitely a piece of datolite. Let's see if I have another one that isn't. So this is one that I must have picked up, thinking that I had found a piece of datolite. Clearly not datolite. In fact, I'm not even that sure what it is. But if you look at some of these lines on here, they're more straight. They're not rounded, and some of this, it just reminds me more of a chert, the way that these conchoidal fractures are here. And there's absolutely no circular bumps on it whatsoever on the outside edge. So you can pretty much rule that one out. What I'm going to explain here is this one right here. You may think that you might have found a piece of datolite because it's got some of the white edges and stuff. But if you look really closely at this, and I point out right here, you see this radial arc right here? This is a zeolite. And when you see something like this on your specimen, you do not have a piece of datolite. And so you can pretty much conclude this is more than likely a prehnite, a piece of prehnite that's within some of this trap rock right here. And so it's just not a datolite nodule. One more down here that I see is certainly datolite is this one. And again, you can kind of see all those little tiny circle bumps that are on the outside of it. Very classic piece of datolite. However small, you could probably open this up and still get some color out of it. So definitely a piece of datolite. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and cut this piece right here. And so the idea with this stuff is to just cut the largest cross section you can get out of it. So I'll probably start, here and cut just like this in a circle, so that when I open this up, I get the largest cross section that I can get out of this piece. Well on our way into this first installment of the Datolite series, and I'm so excited to cut this nodule right here. I can't wait to see what's inside, and we'll do that next. Okay, get to see inside this for the first time. Wow, look at that. Absolutely incredible. Let's get a better light on this and take a look. Okay, so this is the piece I just put in a lot better lighting. And you can definitely see that there's some detail inside there. It's a great piece of Datolite. And I'm gonna go ahead and polish this up, and then we'll take some photos and just go from there. piece, I noticed that it was just mostly white, so I was just a little bit, I was hoping for more out of that piece, and then when I polished it, I just got some amazing detail and a lot more color out of it as I polished it. So let's take a look at it right now. Piece finished, and I'm just really pleased with the detail in this piece. I thought at first that little orange streak in there was like a rust thing off of my saw, but it's on both sides, and it finished out, and so I just think it's a color inclusion of some kind. But nonetheless, it's a very, very neat piece of Datolite, and so I'm going to keep this pair together just like that, and couldn't be more cool. We're certainly off to a great start on the series on Datolite, and I couldn't be more excited, and there's a lot of anticipation building for this series, so I'm just so eager to get to the next video and you know, just explore the whole topic of Datolite together. So if you like this video, if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and that way you won't miss any as we move through the series and progress. Some great pictures and videos of this amazing piece of Datolite we just got done cutting and polishing. And next time you see me, we'll be cutting more Datolite, and I can't wait to see you then. Till then, God bless, be well, see you later.